What's up guys, Omni here. You guys know how it goes, another day, another video. Last night I tweeted I sleep. What recent news, topic, tweets, videos you want me to talk about tomorrow? Hey guys, today is Monday, May 13th. That's right, we're already halfway into May. Time is going by extremely fast. And also, we have a doozy of a video for you guys. Like the drama that's currently happening in the Vtuber community. Apparently it has something to do with racism. There's a situation where Logan Paul is calling his ex-co-host George Janko a liar after allegations of workplace mistreatment were brought up. Some ordinary gamers, aka Mutahar, just dropped a 1-hour expose on this creator named Keffals, exposing her as a complete fraud. And there's a massive amount of plethora in gaming news and announcements that you guys just don't want to miss. But guys, before we get into all of the BS that we're getting ready to talk about, I would love to give recognition to my boy Etika, because over the weekend it was his 34th birthday. If you guys don't know, this is Desmond, aka Etika, aka one of the best YouTubers to ever have done it. And yeah, we miss him dearly. It's been about 5 years since the passing of Etika. He is how do I put this? I don't know how to describe this guy outside of being like an enigma, like a specific kind of energy that never disappears or dissipates. Okay, even 5 years after his passing, people are still watching this guy's clips, still saying Joy-Con boys forever, still thinking about him to this day, about all of the crazy content that he used to make us all laugh and smile. So I just want to give recognition to the gang. Etika, he was a good friend of mine, somebody that was very special to me, and it definitely broke my heart when he left this earth. And it's been something that I've been coping with for a while, and I know a lot of people have been doing so as well. He's one of the people that during dark time brought good energy into your space and kept people afloat. Good energy, real ass dude, and we miss him. So I just want to say happy birthday to Etika. And for those of you guys at home who are still grieving as well, just know, I don't know about you guys, but he's still in my heart. This guy is still everywhere. The other day I was thinking about the Drake Kendrick beef, and I was like, this man if he was here reacting to the Drake Kendrick beef, he would probably be dropping a BBL Drizzy mixtape. He would be in this cluster hell having a blast with it. It's crazy. Like, even 5 years after his passing, I always find myself like randomly in thought thinking, like, how would Etika respond? What would he think? Because everybody wanted to know what this man thought. And so, yeah, man, just saying happy birthday to the gang. Love you, man. And just another year. We have not forgotten about you, Des. All right. All right, BB. All right, gang, we got some good old-fashioned VTuber community drama and racism. Two words that I've seen in this community be used quite some time over my 10-year here, so not a surprise. I mean, you guys know me. I love to cover situations and stories that involve some form of racism, because a lot of the times I find it kind of like interesting, because I tend to be on the back end of those situations as a person who's usually targeted. But also, I just like to talk about it in general and see people's thoughts and feelings about racism in general. This one happened to do with a guy by the name of Visecs. I don't see his tweet here. What it says: the VTuber community hearing racism bad and going absolutely berserk. So I've seen a little bit of this without kind of looking too much into it, so I'm kind of going to do a small deep dive on here. But I know it has to do with this guy by the name of Visecs. He goes by the name of God, and he also had a VTuber debut. And in his VTuber debut, he came out and made a video talking about everything problematic and wrong with the VTuber space, which is absolutely freaking wild. For those of you guys don't know who Visecs or Visecs is, I've seen him in the space. I don't know too much about him outside of the fact that this guy is like a rap guy. Like, this guy raps and he's really freaking good. I think he's worked with Shofu a lot in the background. Extremely talented dude when it comes to just literally just rapping. He is that guy. Outside of that, I don't really know too much about him outside of the fact that he kind of exists doing that. But yeah, he said this Friday, my VTuber debut, also dropping a nuke on the VTubing community. Everything wrong with VTubers. May 10th. It's time for y'all to smell your stuff. Here's the final trailer. And yeah, if you type his name on YouTube, you get two videos here. One that released 24 hours ago saying everything wrong with VTubers, and then another one that says, I'm sorry, Vtuber community. Good Lord. So we got a 30-minute everything wrong with VTubers video, followed by an apology. Oh no, what happened? What is he apologizing for? What is going on? Oh Lord. I still can't believe Gang came out here and said, hey guys, I'm joining the VTuber community, and then put everybody on blast, bro. That's like your debut as a rap hip-hop artist, coming out and you make an entire album talking about why the rap and hip-hop industry is garbage. I don't know if people are going to be welcoming you with open arms, whether you're speaking truth or facts or not, but this is the way he decided to go about it. So yeah, let's kind of see what he had to say. It looks like the video has like 7,000, almost 8,000 dislikes compared to the 5,000 likes, a little bit of half and half ratio going on there with 2,000 comments and a lot of people flooding with a lot of things. This comment section feels like a lot of stuff got deleted. All right, what happened? I think what occurred was somewhere in this video, I think he may have bring the online presence of another VTuber, which I'm not even going to bring any attention to, and may have posted their face, and then maybe he deleted that out of the video, or maybe that has something to do with the apology. I think that's what I saw kind of trending on Twitter, and then it just led to like, oh my lord. But anyway, let's go to the racist part. Let's look at the chapter. But yeah, without watching the full video, which I'm very curious about, I think I might watch the full video on Omni After Dark tonight, the stream, 7 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. This seems like an interesting video to watch. Man came out here and said, hey guys, I'm a VTuber, but also VTubers aren't funny, everyone's a demon, same personalities, racism, selective outrage, weaponizing mental illness, VTuber artists, shipping VTubers, accountability, parasocial relationships, VTuber collabs, streamer isn't a therapist, your VTuber Oshi, animals, staying off Twitter. My good lord, my gang came out of here and just said, why would you be a VTuber if you think there's so much problem with it, unless he wanted to be the change, I guess, that he's trying to put here. But god damn, my man put everybody on blast. Let's get to the racist part of the video. I'm curious to see what he has to say when it comes to racism in the VTuber space.
Newsflash, my nigga. I am something special. You want to know what it is?
I do, but I don't think I can say it.
I'm black.
That's it. That explains everything.
That's not even special, you fucking monk.
The freezer.
Anything crazy or it's racist.
The freezer.
But then again, y'all don't really care much about that anyway. Which brings me to my next point. Y'all niggas is racist.
So what else is new?
But why? It's crazy. The fact that some of y'all have actively decided to use lighter skinned models to avoid getting racist comments is crazy to me. And I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do to get your bag and be comfortable, I guess. But the fact that y'all gotta do that to be comfortable is madness.
So yeah, I don't think this is anything new so far. I mean, that I've kind of known. Like, if you are in the VTuber space or the anime space, or you play Genshin Impact, or you've been here since the whitewashing of Nessa, if you exist in this universe, then you basically understand that for some reason, when it comes to anime and all of these type of things, that yeah, the more melanin you have, the more color you have, the less attractive you become in the eyes of the majority of the people, especially around the world in Japan. Okay, colorism is a huge thing, and essentially making your model as close to white as possible or as pale as possible seems to give you a nice thumbs up success. Whereas I remember I made a video titled this VTuber put me back into slavery back in my late Omni days, which I'll be bringing back. But yeah. It was an out-of-pocket video where some, I think it was a Chinese VTuber, was basically bringing in a skit where she had a slave, right? And the slave, it was calling him the N-word essentially and talking about, this is my slave here. And people were like, this is absolutely hilarious. Like, basically promoting the fact that someone was black and making fun of black people was something that got you money and props, like in the community, okay? So yeah, of course, if you look at every kind of like VTuber space, if you look at HoloLive, if you look at almost every single VTuber agency, right? The majority of the guys and girls you've seen spread out on their roster, you will see very little to no melanin. Like, you won't even see a token black guy or a token black girl. There's no tokens. If you don't even have a token, then you already know that when it comes to inclusion, like there's very little representation there. But I feel like most of us already knew this. If you look at the anime space, it's kind of just common knowledge, but he's just bringing up the fact that this is a thing. But he's calling the whole VTuber community racist. He said, y'all are racist. So I'm just like, okay, let me continue to listen. All right.
Couldn't be me though. Suck my dick. My melanin is gorgeous.
I was distracted by that fine motherfucker right there.
But on some dead shit though, I wish more of y'all would embrace your actual culture, because why the fuck y'all get V2 models and all of a sudden y'all niggas is Japanese?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Niggas get a couple $100 for a VTube model that look like some third-party character from a shonen or some nigga from Genshin Impact, and all of a sudden they name is Scrimblow Uchiha. Cut that shit out. But again, I know why. A lot of these niggas is racist, and no one does a thing about it, which brings me to my next point, Scrimblow Uchiha. Selective outrage.
Okay, so we're going to selective outrage. So yeah, okay, he's saying that, yeah, nobody wants to be black, you know? You don't see people get a VTuber model and be like, I want to be black, like super black, like dark-skinned black, like Wakanda black. Like, you don't get any kind of that. You get the opposite usual. So yeah, that's a thing as well. Which brings us to the apology video where he said, I'm sorry, Vtuber community. My man has been in the community for like A day, maybe 2, and this man is speed running becoming a VTuber, already up to the Vtuber apology that fast. Good lord.
You know what? I've had some time to think about it. And I know some of y'all are genuinely hurt by the way I talked about your favorite VTubers. Telling them that they're pieces of shit for their blatant racism and nasty behavior was unbecoming of me. Using audio and visual of someone throwing out the word nigga and laughing about it in their past life as if they wake up and there's someone else now was wrong of me, especially because they didn't address it. It's just up on the internet for anyone to see. Why address it? There's someone new now. Why address and apologize for the bullshit of the past? That's not you anymore.
So, as you guys can probably see, this sorry is a sarcastic one, okay? My man is stirring the pot. He came in here and decided to stir and mix the pot.
I have no right to bring up how shitty someone was when they're a different doodle now. They have different outlines. Different outlines, different racism. Maybe Chat was breathtaking that day, and George Floyd was the only logical comparison. I mean, God forbid I bring up all the groomers that are running around with y'all, or the fact that Maury Cali Pipi doesn't rap that good and that demon dice shit that she used to do sounds like it belongs at a VTuber clan convention.
Satan started screaming that the music wasn't good enough. Satan said I wasn't Black Male or hood enough.
Only black man for the hood can rap down. Oh man. Okay, so not really an apology video. It's a sarcastic one. The one though here where he does apologize for, where he says, "My final statement for my VTuber canceling, raw, transparent, no memes, let's talk. Time to get sued." So people were saying that he might get sued because he showed footage of a person who's like, I think Cover Corp or Hololive or something like that, and people were saying that he doxed him. I was like, what in the hell, fat? What is going on? What are y'all doing over here, homie?
All right, so boom, right? Thorough. No edits, no none of that extra shit. Let's talk. Y'all and me, let's talk. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about any of this. It's gonna be a little weird sharing experiences like this on this model and shit because it's cute, but there's a nigga behind here. As nigga could be. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of y'all don't know who I am. So take this as a crash course, because I'm an asshole. Unapologetically. I say and do whatever the fuck I feel like doing or saying, and I'm stubborn when my niggas tell me it's a bad idea. Shout out to Kenji. Now, because I've been called a lot of things throughout this whole debacle. Xenophobic, homophobic, fatphobic, ableist, etc. But one of the things niggas is not going to call me is a liar. And I ain't a nigga that throws stones and hides his hand. So if after any of this you want to skedaddle, I dig it. C'est la vie. You feel me? If niggas is going to sue me for talking about some shit that was already up because Shorty's trying to distance herself from who she was, I get it. She has her right to want a distance. However, digital footprint. It allows for niggas to say, You feel me? So that's what I did. I'd be lying if I said I feel sorry for doing it. I got a little bit of a platform to speak for people who can't, so fuck it. I'm shooting, and I shot.
He's still not saying sorry. This man's kind of alluding to it, but no, I'm not sorry. I did what I did, and I'm not sorry so far.
And shit got crazy. But I meant what I said. And then none of y'all niggas gonna scare me off of no fucking platform and make me feel like I gotta give some fucking half-assed apology that I really don't mean, cause it's what'll make y'all feel better, and it's how niggas dodge bullshit in this fuck-ass community. I meant every word that I said. However, if Shorty feels bad that her face was brought back up to this magnitude in this light, that's understandable. I would never deny you your feelings if you feel them. You got that. Just like y'all shouldn't deny how we feel when y'all motherfuckers punch down on us and make the space uncomfortable because niggas is dark. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Now, a lot of y'all are chronically on the internet, so y'all not used to this type of energy without a backpedal, but check. This is who the fuck I am, B. I'm a nigga from outside, and that comes with a lot of bad sometimes. I was beating niggas up. I was robbing niggas. I talk about it all the time in my music. It's what life was for me. Thankfully, a nigga been able to calm down a bit because I've been focused on other shit. Streaming, music, etc. Blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop-de-whap, right? Cool. I was wilding the fuck out. It is what it is. I be wilding the fuck out. It is what it is.
So, all right. So Visecs basically saying like he is just himself. And when he came into the VTuber space, he was like, yeah, this is me. I rustle jimmies. I talk stuff. I talk smack. I bring up some drama. I stir up the pot. And this is just who I am. And unapologetically, that's what I'm going to be. I think the thing that he's got to kind of recognize here is too, is that if he is going to do that, if he's going to be that chaos energy, right? If he's going to bring that to this, new space of people that he's not familiar with, and also people that he also appears to not like in general as well, feels like it's racist, right? You don't go to a KKK rally and be like, hey, all y'all are racist. That's not going to end well for you as well. Apparently, people have been responding in the comments and talking about like saying some terrible stuff. So here's the thing that happens, right? You can talk about the issues, disparities, racism, colorism when it comes to the community, right? But if you come at it with the visceral energy that this guy had, well then yeah, you're going to attract the actual racists, the ones that are really out here ready, and they'll just call you every single name in the freaking book. I remember that same thing that happened with the whole Nessa whitewashing situation, the girl from Pokemon, and she got whitewashed, and then people turned her into a baboon, right? It's a smaller group of people who are coming out here and just saying the worst things. They're like, oh, are you guys talking about racism? Here's my time to say the most racist things possible, right? And then that kind of gets thrown around like you bring an entire Triple K rally up into your Twitter box, right? It's especially on Twitter, man. It's wild on these streets, okay? But yeah, it sounds like he wanted to, you know, bring awareness, and he did it. But bringing awareness has that consequence of the way that he did it, where he's getting a lot of clash back, and now he's creating a lot of enemies in the space. My man did not want to come in peaceful with the peaceful entry. He said, I want to come in, I want to rustle the enemies, I want to call everyone out, I want to make some enemies. No new friends right off the get-go. So yeah, guys, that's the Visecs situation in a nutshell. Homie's out here basically coming in and being himself into this new space and immediately getting outlashed, which is not surprising at all. Okay, if you're going to come in combative and you come out here guns a-blazing, shooting at people, then yeah. The VTuber community plays in their stands and their fans. I don't mess with nobody. You can talk about energy, right? That's him, and that's Visecs, and he can be unapologetically who he was, and I'm accepting for who he is and let him do his thing. For me, I can't be about that energy because I know how crazy people are on the internet, right? I know these stands of these VTuber communities. These people are wild, and I don't want the smoke. I'm a peaceful guy out here, man. I'm out here like freaking second season of Vinland Saga, bro. Just farming, minding my business and keeping you guys informed. But I don't want the smoke because there's a lot of wild, crazy people out here. I don't want the war or the battle. There are also people who are pulling up receipts saying that he's been associated with people in the past who aren't good people, saying that he said like the F word and rap things and everything. And now people are pulling out ammunition, looking into his past and try to fire back at him and say, you're not a good person either. And that's just the back and forth now. That's the battle and the war that he chose. My honest thoughts, without disrespecting any of the parties involved, is that, yeah, this is a conversation that needs to be had, but I don't know if this is the most productive way to have the conversation, right? I think it's just going to create more racism. Also, the way that Visecs' videos, the editors, I'm not a huge fan of like the constant like editing. It feels very aggressive, and I think like if you come aggressive in this situation, it's only going to make more haters. That's all it's going to really do. I don't think it creates the net positive. It gets people talking and having the discussion. I think it's very effective at that. But in terms of like seeking resolution, I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I don't even know if that's what he wants to do. Maybe he doesn't even want to create a resolution. Maybe he just wants to bring attention to it, and that's that. And leave it up to everyone else to kind of figure out where to go from there. He's just calling people out. He's doing what, you know, rappers do, calling people out and sussing them out and saying this is all the things that are wrong with you, but in his own way, in his own form. But I do think a greater discussion when it comes to the VTuber space and when it comes to black people and a lot of spaces, all of it needs to happen. All of it can happen. We understand the disparity in every single community when it comes to black people and in other races too as well. We get it. It's just trying to have the conversation is just so exhausting at this point because it feels like it's always an uphill battle of trying to explain how people feel, followed by some people trying to tell you that you shouldn't feel a certain way. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I've been exhausted from it. So now I just poke fun out of it and take the best laughs that I can get from it and move on because life's not that serious. Whew. Okay. This is a big one. All right. This is a big doozy. This is a big chungy wungy. All right. Look, I already know talking about this is going to be something where people are going to be like, Omni, what do you have to say, homie? Because it is absolutely massive freaking drama when it comes to the commentary space between two pretty large commentators. My gang Mutahar, Some Ordinary Gamers. I've been on his podcast many times and he's a close friend of mine. He's helped me a lot in some situations. So there's a little bit of bias coming in there, but you know, I'm just going to speak about this objectively. And Keffals, a commentator as well. I actually interviewed her about a year ago, maybe a little bit more on my own. And I talked to her directly, specifically when there was some situations going on about her and like basically saying slurs and racism a lot, right? We had like an hour plus interview. It was actually pretty good, surprisingly. We didn't have a debate or nothing like that, but you guys know me. When I'm talking to a lot of people, I'm not out here to kind of like come at nobody. So it was a good information session, a good back and forth from it. And then I kind of dipped out of it while she went back into her own thing. But yeah, if you guys don't know, JXC said Muta made a big expose on Keffals, and the thumbnail artist for the video got canceled to the point of deleting their Twitter. The thumbnail artist got canceled? You mean the gang who made this? I already can tell who this art is. There's this guy blowing up. I need to find his name, by the way. But he basically makes art of people on Twitter, and he makes everybody look really, really, really bad. Like really bad. It's like, think like how Papa Meat does, or Meat Canyon. You know how he makes really scary stuff? This guy basically takes a portrait of you and then finds a way to make you look as ugly and grotesque as possible. And I absolutely freaking love it. He got deleted on Twitter? That's sad. I'm gonna see if I can find him later, because he's a really good artist in my opinion. Anyway, Mutahar has said uploaded a new video regarding a serious fraud of an activist known as Keffals. Over an hour of deconstructing her various lies and examining her terrible lies will prove to you why she is a danger to people they represent and those surrounding them. Now, for those of you guys who don't know who Keffals is, she's been through a lot. She's basically existed on the internet in many ways. She is an activist for the trans community. She's one of the people who's very vocal when it comes to that community, and she's been doing that for quite a while. She was involved in this situation with Kiwi Farms. I completely forgot that she is the reason why Destiny got banned on Twitch. Literally 2 years ago, it says here that Steve Bonnell, who's known as Destiny, hosted a stream where he reacted to Leah's controversy. Steven criticized the notion of trans women in sports. Keffals accused him of bullying and reported him until he was banned from Twitch indefinitely. I forgot that she was the one that took him down, and that's why he's streaming on YouTube and Kick right now. Dang. However, I think one of the biggest situations that kind of brought Keffals to the limelight was the situation that happened with Kiwi Farms. I'm just going to read off really fast a quick summary just so you guys can know who we're talking about before we kind of go into what Mutahar had to say, because you kind of need to know that as a prerequisite. But it reads here, on August 9th, 2022. Hey, that's my birthday, by the way. Keffals uploaded a video on her YouTube channel explaining that she had lost access to her main Twitter account and could not stream, as the police had raided her home and seized her computer and phone, as well as her fiance's laptop, after an individual using her identity sent an email to several local Canadian city councillors belonging to London City, informing them that she had supposedly killed her mother with an illegal firearm and would soon enter City Hall with the intention of slaughtering every cisgender person present. God damn. What in the hell? Oh my lord. Did I just stumble upon something I didn't? Where am I? Keffals' home was raided, and she was let go with no charges after it became apparent that she did not commit nor intended to commit any of the crimes listed in the email, etc., etc. And then, in light of these events, Keffals created a GoFundMe fundraiser with the intention of moving out and covering any potential legal fees for building a case against the London City Police Department for transphobia, as well as to recoup her losses, though it later had its funds frozen after being mass reported, and she seemingly had no financial losses as her property was returned. After a short period of time, though, her fundraiser would be unfrozen as she would retain access to the funds. Keffals was able to ascertain the funds to move into a hotel, which subsequently had its location doxed on August 17th, resulting in her hotel room being unaudited with pizza deliveries made using her dead name. Good gosh. She would also admit that another firm was actually responsible in private, but continued to place fault onto Kiwi Farm. So this was, good lord, she was just basically getting bombed by some kind of community that I don't have no trouble, no beef with y'all, okay? Whoever was on, I got... That's basically TLDR Keffals. She's a trans activist. She's very vocal on Twitter, you know, basically ratio people and saying like trans rights. And then she kind of gets into like commentary spaces where she talks about like events that are happening in the commentary YouTuber space and gives off her takes. And, you know, also one of those edgy people as well who likes to say slurs and throw anything around kind of thing. And that's Keffals in a nutshell. So it looks like Mutahar has brought some new information alive. Which brings us to Mutahar's video. It's an hour and 30 minutes titled Why Keffals is a Complete Fraud. It's already got 560,000 views and there's 32,000 likes on here. And man, oh man, sorry, not sorry for the freeze frame, Muta. but it's garnered a lot of attention and attraction to the situation that is Keffals. And while I have not watched the entirety of this 1 hour and 30-minute video, I've had a lot of close friends and sources who have given me a summary on basically what happened, a nice TLDR, as well as some of the highlights that you need to know in terms of like the biggest highlights of what, you know, Mutahar brought up in this story. Muta does say, hey guys, it's me, Mutahar again. This time we take a deep dive towards an incredibly controversial online figure known as Keffals, who organized one of the largest campaigns known as #DropKiwiFarms in the summer of 2022. Today we investigate why nearly every claim she's made is disingenuous and why she remains the worst activist for the people she claims to represent. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. One of the points appears to point to the fact that Keffals may have misused the GoFundMe funds that she accumulated during this whole situation with Kiwi Farms that she had raised. This person said, it's time to talk about the Keffals GoFundMe situation below. I will prove Keffals misled donors and spent $100,000 dishonestly, and her legal case with Human Rights Tribunal on Ontario is dead, and Keffals has been lying about his status to avoid questions related to money. And it looks like somebody has some receipts here that involves Keffals, in which she says, also known as Clara, feels really bad watching the GFM deplete. The rest will cover a year rent and my psych fees if I talk to a psychologist once a week for the next 11 months. Ellen tried to comfort me, reminding me it was an emergency fund. Someone named Arif saying, Ellen's right, but I definitely understand the feeling. Whenever I had a windfall that I wasn't originally planning on having, I still felt bad when it was depleted, in which Clara said, I keep trying to think of how it depleted so fast, and it's just so many little things. Travel and replacing furniture and helping my friends out and buying new streaming gear and clothes. If anyone ever finds out how I spent the GFM, I am definitely getting canceled. LOL. Anyway, sorry for venting. I'm going to go now, and I'm still heading to Dingle. LOL. Oh my lord. Good lord. Oh boy. Oh man. God damn. Whenever you tweet to somebody or message to someone like, man, if anyone ever discovered this, I'm getting canceled. And you just gave someone that ammunition, and then that ammunition gets exposed. Oh my lord. I don't know if Keffals has debunked if this was her or not, but like that's one of the most biggest self-reports I've ever seen. Anyway, in this very long-winded post here, it looks like someone is going over in detail every single kind of expense that she made and saying that the expenses she said wasn't the expenses, why it's fraud, dropping evidence and everything you can think of here. Money, situations, just saying it does not add up if you guys want to look more into that. But yeah, but that's one of the big points there. The other highlight, which I'm not going to get into right now and has to do potentially with Keffals talking to underage people. And I gotta say, after a whole week of talking about like freaking Drake and potentially all his thing, I'm a little gassed out on situations when it comes to content creators and their interactions with just younger people. I'm kind of done. That's one of the points that was brought up in the video, okay? And there's many more, all right? But those are some of the bigger highlights. Keffals responded on Twitter saying, hey, I understand people have criticisms of me. I don't think I'm above being critiqued. That said, was it really necessary to use a transphobic caricature of me and the thumbnail while also not using my pronouns in the video announcement? And it's showing this picture right here, Keffals, and she's implying this is as a transphobic picture. And it also says that, so I guess she got, this is a reader's added context, community noted, as the screenshot clearly shows, Mutahar did refer to Keffals by the gender she identifies with. So I'm kind of confused about the saying that it was misgendered here, but let me continue. She has some more tweets. I think my actions themselves are heinous. You wouldn't need to dehumanize me to audience of millions of people in order to make the point she wanted to make. The bar for this was incredibly low, and Mutahar managed to still fumble it, followed by, anyways, I'm probably going to get harassed by thousands of people for standing up for myself now, so I'm going to go do something fun instead of that. See you all when it dies down, saying, nope, I'm getting the hell out of here, getting the hell out of Dodge on the internet, because this place is about to be a wild shit show for her. So that's the situation in a nutshell. Again, I may go ahead and review this video on an Omni After Dark stream, maybe on Twitch either tonight, maybe on Wednesday. We'll see. It depends if that's where I want to really put my energy, because I feel like I've been trying to be careful. I like sipping the drama and the tea, man, but sometimes it goes to these dark spots where I'm like, where am I? What am I doing with my life? Why am I here? I don't know. Sometimes I feel that way, but then sometimes I'm like, anyway, curiosity makes the best of me, and I dive in a little bit deeper. In terms of this picture, by the way, I mean, just looking at it, I don't feel like it's transphobic. I think it's just people, finding a person and then making them look extremely ugly, right? I've seen this person's other pictures and they all looked ugly. They did one with Muda as well, and I thought it was a pretty cool, unique style of it. So I can't understand the part of the argument where this is specifically targeted towards the trans community, but I'm gonna let people go ahead and fight their own battles. I'm not jumping in the middle of this. I ain't taking no damn sides. We are staying objective, but also I'm pointing you guys over to Mutahar's video if you want to watch more. And then if Keffals has more to say about it, if she wants to defend herself at any point in time, I'll let you guys know what she comes out in response with. But yeah, so I had no idea this was going on in the background. Well, Logan Paul and George Janko have apparently been like in a fight. If you guys don't know, Logan Paul, he has a podcast. It's called Impulsive. And in Impulsive, he has a bunch of co-hosts that come up here and they just, you know, talk about things. That's it. That's what every podcast does. They get up and they they talk about whatever they want to talk about, usually current events or whatnot surrounding their circle. George Janko was an ex-co-host that used to be one of the faces of the people that used to talk on the show. And then they had a falling out. There was a dispute going on between these two. And then eventually George Janko left the show. And then George Janko, this guy right here, came out to talk about poor working environments, saying that he had to pay money in order to basically be a part of the show, saying that he didn't get his correct pay and a lot of other complaints as well. And then one of you guys told me to say, hey, Omni, you got to listen to his response back from Logan Paul. You guys all know Logan Paul, the wrestler, the Crypto Zoo King guy himself, okay? Recently announced that he's having a baby with his girlfriend or fiance. I don't think he's married or nothing like that. But yeah, you know, he's becoming a family man. But yeah, he dropped a video, 4 minutes, 20 seconds that you guys asked me to take a look at. All you need to know, the prerequisite to this is George Janko is saying that he basically got treated like crap and didn't get fair compensation. And he was talking on his own podcast, the George Janko podcast, about this situation. And now Logan Paul is firing back.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on the show and I'm getting pushed out.
You made money on the show.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
All right, let's talk about this. Obviously, I wasn't on the podcast to represent myself, so I'd like to clarify a few things that were said. As well as having his own credit card, all expenses related to the show were paid for, including all travel and lodging. Obviously, George's total reimbursement came out to $20,000, 317 cents. I'd love to see any books that show otherwise. Spending $120,000 a year to be on a show is a little confusing.
Pause. I've been seeing Logan Paul do these like firebacks and responses on TikTok, right? He'll come out here talking about something that happened with Prime. Apparently somebody was saying that Prime's caffeine amounts are like way too high or something crazy, and he was doing response back. So there's an ongoing thing now where basically Logan Paul is defending himself in these TikToks, and apparently he's getting pretty good at it. Anyway, I wanted to go back to this part where he shows here between the impulsive credit card and the direct reimbursements total, George travel that was covered by the podcast was $20,000, and we have all the data in the backup to support this. This is the accountant for the company. He's saying that, yeah, it's all backed up in terms of how much money he was paying. So he's saying that he's got to prove.
This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making.
This statement is so crazy that it's almost laughable. That would mean I'm making $572 million a year. I'm nowhere near that. What happened was Prime had a very successful month. I think we did like 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as like my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful
like that?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 50.
Whoa. What? Yo. George Janko made $317,000 just to appear on a podcast with Logan Paul. What in the hell, fat bro? That's just one source of his income. I'm sure this guy, George Janko, does many things, but he got paid. Wait a minute. And this is like a podcast. I believe this was like a weekly podcast. So like 3 to 4 times once a week, you show up and you talk for a couple of hours and then you're gone. And doing that for an entire year was $317,000. Good Lord, I had to pause at that. But he's saying he didn't get paid, but he's bringing up the George Janko's monthly commission summary, actual books and finances, talking about how much he made. Let's get back to the video because it's kind of fast, so I had to slow it down.
The work requirements consisted of about 3 days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever.
So he worked 3 days a month for 3 hours each day. That's 9 hours a month. And then he got to travel and network and basically use the corporate Logan Paul credit card in order to expense anything else that he had to spend while doing activities that had to do with this.
It comes out to about $2,300 per hour. And
Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm just pausing. $2,300 per hour, bro.
He also had 10% equity of the entire show.
And
not
equity?
you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second. But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile.
What do we got here? He said, you coming to WrestleMania? Not true. And no. That's what I was told. Not sure. Coming to birthday dinner at least? April 2nd. Missed you, Georgie. What's up, gangster? How you living? I wanted to reconcile. Good, Bubba. How you doing? Immensely happy and healthy. Just wanted to check in on you. Amazing, bro. Glad. Hey, gangster. So it seems like he was reaching out to George constantly, and George was just like leaving him on read or not saying much. George was not in a good place. Yeah, they had some drama going between these two.
The friendship. I invited him to my birthday party and WrestleMania and even my ranch a few weeks later. He chose not to come. He also unfollowed all the people he mentioned on Instagram, which is maybe why they didn't call him. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but he still does not follow them to this day.
And then
dang. So, okay. So George unfollowed everybody related to Logan Paul and the podcast. It sounds like he just had a complete falling out with them. Logan Paul seems to be under the impression that they can still reconcile in some kind of way, but George is absolutely pissed off and wants to be basically handled with no one. It's also kind of strange that George is saying that he was fired, whereas Logan Paul is saying that he quit. So now we got like a two-sidesy things going on.
And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
The 2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday. His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that I love about George, he prioritizes his family and friends over anything.
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my...
Wait. Pause. So guys, you telling me, because you guys don't know Logan Paul being one of the faces of the Prime energy drink along with KSI, you telling me that George Janko had his own podcast, and on the podcast he was drinking Celsius, one of the competitors to Prime, as Okay, that's kind of wild. My guess is probably because George was currently with Prime. There's probably some contract agreements that maybe he's not supposed to. Well, non-competing agreements are officially gone at this point. This was March 28th, 2023, by the way, last year. But so that was all before this happened in 2024. But yeah, that's kind of wild to have your own podcast and then just represent like another drink kind of thing. Unless Prime wasn't paying, George, like was he not sponsored by Prime on his podcast? I don't know, but let's continue.
Reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film. Like, I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money. The entire text is right here that I sent him after our conversation, because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months.
All right, so let's look at the text. It said, totally understand you have to do what you have to do, and I support your decision. I respect the fact that you're focusing on your platform. I understand you have to pay the bills. I'm sorry. Impulsive isn't enough for that. Just like you're looking out for yourself, I have to do the same. My business partners and I don't find it appropriate to promote one of our biggest competitors. I'm excited to watch you build your podcast, and when and if the deal is up, you want to come on Impulsive, the invite is open. I like to talk about how to move forward with this amicably on social, because I'm sure we can avoid the lame public back and forth and handle this in a mature way that our 8 years of friendship deserves. We support you, and something. We always be friends first. This is just business. I'm excited to see you at WrestleMania, my birthday dinner. Love you, man. So, I mean, I'm gonna be completely frank and honest, objective, okay? It seems to me that Logan was being pretty reasonable in this situation. Oh boy, here we go. One of your friends who's on your podcast is basically making their own podcast and funneling some of their views from their podcast, that Logan one that he created, to their own, and then you start sponsoring the competitor. Like you go full Scar villain mode and say, nah, not only am I gonna go off and do my own thing and unfollow everybody, but I'm also gonna get sponsored by a composing, competitor energy drink. And Logan Paul is saying, look, homie, whatever you get from these guys, we'll match it. If you at least just hit me up or call me or something, bro. It's just not a good look when we brought you here through our program, through Impulsive and through Prime, and then you funneled all of that into the complete opposite. It's also one of those unfortunate things that sometimes happens when you have friends in business, right? When you have family in business and you have a falling out, it gets really, really messy at times. But so far, just again, looking at Logan Paul's response inside of the events over here, it looks like he kind of went through the steps trying to make him whole. He also seemed to like wanted to continue the friendship. It wasn't like a, hey, we'll keep you, make you whole business. It was more so, we'll make you a whole here for your business. And if you want to come out and hang out my birthday, like that's a personal thing. I wouldn't invite just anyone to my birthday. So yeah, it looks like he still looked at him as a homie, but George Janko was like, nah, homie, not only we're not friends, but I'm going to be working with your enemies.
If you needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on Impulsive if he's going to take the deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
Hey man, where you're at, there's no room for you to grow. They won't let you grow. They will not let you grow.
I thought saying that to Mike was a little crazy. He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author. I tried as much as I could to help him get into those positions, and it's not entirely because of me. Mike is a phenom in his own right, and he capitalized on the platform that I gave him, which is awesome. Just like George is doing now, but if that's not growth, like what is? In fact, I think people forget, like I praised George for starting a podcast like a lot.
Georgie started his own podcast. I think it's a great idea. I always love when my co-hosts venture out and do their own things. Congratulations. It's awesome, guys. Check out his podcast.
And also saying they won't let you grow was a little hurtful because I thought at least I helped Mike do some of the things that he did, and I even encouraged him to start his own podcast.
I think you should take a page out of Georgie's book and start a show of your own.
There's no greater feeling.
Dang, if responding on TikTok was like diss tracks or whatever, like freaking Logan Paul is doing a really good job at it. If you guys don't know, Logan Paul, I'm pretty sure he did some diss tracks back in the day. Or I don't know if that maybe was just Jake Paul. It's every day, bro. But good Lord, like this man is responding back to back to kind of like all the accusations and showing proof. And like he's debunking them left and right. He's showing that, yeah, if you were with Logan Paul and you worked in his circle, he propped you up and pushed you to venture out, to become your own thing. And it seemed like it was just something, I don't know. So far, everything seems to be leaning towards what Logan Paul is saying is making sense. But I mean, obviously two sides of the story. Maybe George Janko has more that he wants to say about it in the future after this specific video. I'm actually very curious because right now it looks like George Janko was getting a pretty good deal. $317,000 for 15 months just by traveling and talking with the homies and then hanging out and networking and partying, probably not on your own expenses. Sounds like a good gig. I'm trying to figure out the point where he was in a place where it wasn't working for him unless he wasn't able to capitalize like the other guy could do, is what maybe Logan Paul is saying. I don't know. Seems like it's been a good gig. I think a lot of people would love to have taken his place, Janko, in that spot. And the fact that he was allowed to go get his own podcast, work with Celsius, and then Logan Paul said, if you're done, you can come back to the podcast. Like, I would have did all that. I'm like, dang, if you're gonna work with my competitor directly, bro, then you gotta go. And don't come back.
Feeling than watching people you love succeed. I tried to give people around me a platform, and if they capitalize on it, fantastic. Mike and George did. And George will even tell you this off camera. I encouraged him to pursue media and comedy since 2015. I really believe in the kid, and I still do. There's a lot more. I'm not gonna get into it, but this isn't to say, by the way, that I didn't f up along the way. I did. I should not have mocked his beliefs. I apologize for that. I should have stuck up for him with Bobby Lee, and I definitely should have had his back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story has unfolded this way. I wish him nothing but health, wealth, happiness, all the success that he wants. And I hope that one day we can sit down and have a relationship and a conversation.
So yeah, it seems like even after all of this beef, Logan Paul is like, look, I hope that we can still be friends, have a relationship, maybe even business, have a comeback or something like that. The comment section being exactly what you think it is. A lot of people talking about the fact that, yeah, he still hasn't paid back the people from CryptoZoo, but an actual overwhelming amount of surprising support for Logan Paul in this situation. This guy saying $317K a year for 3 days a month with a podcast, credit card. All right, to be honest with you guys, I was on George's side, but Logan came with the receipts. Good response, hate to admit it. George Janko's entire career and paycheck is from Logan Paul, and he also had a rich dad. Going to side with Logan Paul on this. So this is the thing where showing off the receipts of how much this man got paid basically debunked everything that he had to say, because this man had it going good, right? Not only was he getting paid a large amount of money to basically hang out with Logan Paul, but he also got to be in his circle, be in his network, use his resources, and to do that to prop his own engine up. It seems like it's a pretty golden opportunity, but George was painting it in a way where almost like he was a victim. And people are essentially saying, yo, if you're getting paid $2,300 an hour, there is no situation where you can be a victim. All right, guys, let's talk about some video games. We got wild, insane, crazy video game news from all facets, from Sony to Microsoft to Helldivers 2, just a lot. Okay, we got new indie games. Mugen Boy said you got to talk about the amazing indie games that have come out the past week. This week has been horrible for gaming news, so positivity would come in clutch. Also, RDC World's Leland as P. Diddy dancing to K-Dot. So if you guys don't know, I'm gonna tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly when it came to the gaming space for the past week, because it has been wild. But in terms of the good, Animal Well, Crow Country, and Rabbit and Steel. Don't know much about Crow Country and Rabbit and Steel, but those are two indie games that you guys want to play that apparently come out that have good nominations. But Animal Well specifically is the game that Dunkey, VG Dunkey, our gang YouTuber who said he was going to become a game developer, make his own game. Well, he made it. It's called Animal Well, and apparently it has raging reviews. Apparently, believe it or not, the guy who reviews video games for a living on a YouTube space was actually able to make a good video game. IGN said that Animal Well is a beautiful multi-layered puzzle box that's both fun to simply play around with and utter delight to slowly crack open secret by secret. And it has a full as 9 from IGN? Good lord. Gang Arlo said Animal Well is generally one of the most incredible experiences I've had in the last decade. It's just about everything I could possibly want from a video game. Another person saying Animal Well isn't just one of the best Metroidvanias in years, but one of the best games, full stop. Super Metroid plus Outer Wilds plus some of the most gorgeous pixel art imaginable. Amazing stuff. You got, look, guys, y'all gotta play it, bro. Eurogamer, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 8 point. Good lord, that is strong freaking numbers. Oh my god. You got to play Animal Well. I downloaded it. I've just been too busy playing Hades 2 and raging. I've been playing the early access on my Steam Deck and I've just been pissed off. I've been addicted. I think I have like 20 plus hours on there, maybe even 30. And I've just been losing left and right. I keep getting one shot by the, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to be Big Baby Revenge. For some of the bad news, we got to talk about how the gaming industry is getting hit left and right. One of them being EA. We're not messing with EA no more because apparently they're laying off a bunch of people and also hiring AI for their work. You guys don't know EA Games. They're the ones who EA game. It's in the name. Is it in the sports? I don't even remember their logo anymore. Good. I forgot it. But yeah, they make a bunch of the Madden games, all of the sports games that you know of, FIFAs and everything like that. And they make a lot of high games that people just buy over and over and over. It's like the same game every year, but they make 1 or 2 tweaks and then boom. And then everyone just buys it and plays it, kind of almost like Pokemon. But worse, there's a here that says here in an article, there's a real hunger amongst our developers to get to this as quickly as possible. EA CEO claims that the company has huge plans for generative AI in their game development. Oh boy, here we go. Whenever you hear a company talk about the fact that they want huge AI in their company, that's also a signal that they want to fire as many people as possible and keep their expenses as low. They want to take as many shortcuts as possible while getting rid of as many humans at the same time. And this article by Can Saren with Games Radar summarizes the situation pretty well, where it says EA boss doubles down on the commitment to AI and believes, quote, more than 50% of our development process will be impacted. Good lord. In an EA investor call held yesterday, May 7th, executives were asked how the publisher would implement generative AI into the game production pipelines. Wilson explained that, quote, we're still very early in the AI revolution, or at least the generative AI evolution, but believes that more than 50% of our development process will be positively impacted. Wilson continued to tout the technology, claiming it would make game development more efficient and that we've moved from being able to create stadiums in 6 months to 6 weeks. He also compared how FIFA 23 launched with 36 run cycles or animations, while EA Sports FC 24 had 1,200. The EA boss reiterated that using AI would help the company build products on a global basis at a faster rate and allow developers to get to the fun more quickly. He also claimed that there's a real hunger amongst our developers to get to this as quickly as possible. While discussing developers once, it's worth noting that EA laid off 5% of their staff, about 670 people in February, as the publisher was streamlining streamlining company operations in Wilson's own words at the time. And then less than a year before that, EA booted another 6% of its workforce, another 700 workers. One can only wonder what an even more streamlined, efficiency-focused, AI-fueled development pipeline means for the people making games. You don't need to wonder. All you really need to know is that if a company says they want to get more into AI, it means they want to cut more jobs and remove the human element from it. Efficiency just means getting to their bottom line and making sure that their expenses are as low as possible so that their net profit and their margins are as high as possible, period. And the internet is completely upset when it comes to EA. I mean, most people don't like EA in general. They feel like their games are already kind of lazy, but now this is just adding more fuel to the fire. So I gave you the L. Here's the W. Very huge. It comes to my boy Square Enix. You guys know I'm a Square Enix Squaresoft fan because I love RPGs and everything they usually produce. Not a huge fan of Final Fantasy 16, but they're making a huge change here. Square Enix is dropping console exclusives in a massive policy change story below. Guys, this means that Square Enix games are not going to be exclusive for just PlayStation 5 anymore, or maybe just exclusive to PC or something like that. They're making it so that their Sony games are available to be played on all systems, which is a huge W if you're a PC user, if you're an Xbox user, or maybe even at PlayStation 5, whatever. It means that you can play their games on every system. My guess is the reason why they're probably choosing this option is because they did make Final Fantasy 16 a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and from what I understand, it did not sell as well as they expected. It didn't do terrible, but they believed it should have done a lot better. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, from my understanding. I believe they were hoping to get more bang for their buck when it came to these games, and now Square Enix is like, you know what? Nah. Let's just make sure that everyone can play our games so we can get the max amount of profit. I think this is a huge win for PC gamers because it feels like everything is leading to a point where if you have a PC, then you can play every single game of existence, especially when it comes to like being on Steam. But in this short article by Brandon Orselli from Niche Gamer, it says here that Square Enix has announced a new business plan that will see the company shift away from console exclusives like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 16. Hey, I literally just said that. I didn't even read the article. Your boy knows his shit. The new strategy will see that the company aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy that will see its game release across all modern platforms, including PC, Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation. And it's kind of wild. Nintendo? I can't imagine Final Fantasy 16 being released on Nintendo Switch. There's just no way. Maybe the Switch too, if it has better processors, but there's no way that I would touch a game like Final Fantasy 16 on the Switch, okay? My Switch would just blow up if I try to boot that thing. So this is great news for gamers, okay? For those of you guys who are like, man, I don't want to buy an entire PlayStation 5 just so that I can play a Square Enix game, just so that I can play Final Fantasy 16, right? I feel like when it comes to some of these systems, right? Like if you're a person who has a PC, you can play almost every single freaking game. But sometimes there's like one game, like one of your favorite games is only coming out on one system. You're like, no, I can't justify buy an entire system just for one freaking game. Well, it looks like Square Enix is bowing out of that competition altogether. So when it comes to like future games, like maybe Kingdom Hearts 4, 5, which one are we on? But when that does come out, 4 comes out, sounds like that might be something where you can get on the PC and on the Xbox as well. So huge W if you're a Square Enix fan. Another freaking reverse Uno, man. This is Pirate Software. If you guys don't know, Pirate Software is a Twitch streamer. He's making a video game. He's one of the biggest developers. I think he is the biggest developer in terms of like on Twitch. He's got like huge marathons, whatever. He's trying to make some good videos. And he bring up a tweet about Helldivers 2. If you guys don't know, we talked about this game, Helldivers 2. Sony was basically saying that you need to get a Sony account in order for you to play Helldivers 2, and it made the entire internet so angry that they gave this game the worst review bomb that I have ever seen. Went from up to completely squash, which then made people feel like power to the players. But it looks like he's saying that this was a trick. It was a reverse Uno when the Sony is reversing their decision or going back or still doing things. Saying here that, yeah, Sony declared having a PSN account would be mandatory to play Helldivers 2. The community revolted, trashed the game reviews, scored a 13% positive. Sony walked it back and stated they wouldn't be making PSN mandatory. However, declaring victory, the community undid the massive wave of negative reviews, yet Sony did something sinister in the background. They restricted Helldivers 2 from being purchased in all 177 countries where PSN isn't available. They fooled you, and the devs are still fighting to fix it. What? So instead of making it a requirement for these countries to have a PSN account, they're now just making it so that all these countries can't play Helldivers 2 altogether? The first tweet reading here, is there any news about the 177 countries delisted issue, in which this person says, sorry, no, I'm speaking to our partners at PlayStation and Valve and pushing for it to be undone. Getting the account linking took a Herculean effort, but won't rest in my desire to have it available everywhere. So, bro, how is this legal? How can you make it so that you can play a game in a country and then suddenly, hey, if you live in XYZ country, you no longer can play Helldivers 2? How is that even legal? I cannot imagine buying a game and they'd be like, well, sorry, this is all the time I had. I know the money that you spent to build Helldivers 2 is in our pockets, but now you can't play it anymore. That can't be right. Something weird is happening. Was this game never available in these countries in the first place? Or how do you revoke access to a game after you've given it? I'm so confused. This is the list of countries that can't play Helldivers 2. It's pretty huge, so I'm not going to read them all, but just seeing a couple of them off the top of my head. There's Afghanistan at the top. There's Belize. There's Congo. Oh my God. Cuba can't play this game. Egypt can't play this game. Freaking Ghana can't. Haiti can't play this game. Japan? They can't play Helldivers 2 in Japan? What? What? You can't play it in Nigeria? You can't play it in Vietnam? You can't play it in Zimbabwe? You can't play it in Somalia? You can't play it in Serbia? You can't play it in the Philippines? Puerto Rico? Bro, Puerto Rico, no! Why are they banning it in all of these places? Holy moly. Pirate Saw, we're saying, for those claiming these two actions were not associated and trying to community note me, Sony restricted sales at 22 UTC on May 4th and then sent out a notice of walking back the PSN requirement on May 6th. These actions were 30 hours apart. The wave of downvotes started on May 3rd and continued until Sony announced the PSN requirement was dropped on May 6th. You can review this in the package information via stream customer reviews tool. Helldivers 2 is now banned for purchase in Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia as of 7 minutes ago. Still trying to say this is Steam's fault? Worst publisher in the industry. Sony has now also blocked all of the countries from purchasing Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. What is Sony doing? What is the... I'm confused. What is the reasoning, and why is Sony banning all of these countries from playing their video games? So you didn't see any of this, but I've been scavenging the internet for like a while now, trying to figure out where and why Sony is doing this. I don't understand it yet, and I don't think it's actually been explained. But yeah, it looks like Sony is basically preventing Helldivers 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and probably future games by at least 170 countries and counting. It just keeps going up. What is their goal here? It sounds like if they can't get people to sign up for the PSN account in these accounts, they're just not letting them play the game at all, so that they're forced to make their own Sony account. Is that what's happening? Correct me if I'm wrong. This is just kind of me just thinking off the top of my head. But if you make the game unavailable to play on Steam, for all of these countries, this then forces the people in these countries to get a PSN account in order to play these games. Is that what's happening here? They're saying, like, instead of making the link from the current existing Helldivers 2 community and forcing you to go to PSN, we won't force you. However, now you just can't play the game altogether. And so if you do want to get into it, you still got to do it anyway. That's what feels like what's happening here, but I might be wrong. Let me know if somebody can give me some more added clarity, because I've been researching this and I can't find out any other reason why they would do that, unless they just want to continue to funnel more people through Sony and that kind of facet. But all right, guys, that's all I have for today's video, man. I'm tired. We talked about it a lot, okay? And then I got to get ready for tonight's stream, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next episode, either tomorrow or Wednesday. All right, leave a like if you guys haven't already. And yeah, stay safe on these streets, because these streets ain't safe. Be easy, be good. I love y'all. Brush your teeth. Peace.